So today should be the grand finale of this particular story featuring Millennium, superhero of the future. Join us right after the intro. Hi folks, and welcome to Sharp Mountain Games. Here we talk about group role-playing games, solo role-playing games, and there are plenty of actual plays in the playlist. You can check out our print and PDF products at Amazon, Lulu, Drive-Thru, and Roll20, and they're all linked below. Let's get started, and we're glad you're here. Today's game is a superhero game set in the future with Millennium, and we'll introduce the characters in a second here. And if you want to play along using Streamlined Superheroes, I have a link down below in the description where you can pick it up on Drive-Thru, $2.99. I think that's pretty cheap. But if not, and you want to use a different rule set or a rule set of your own or something you already own, that's great too. And certainly if you steal my plot, how am I going to know? Just certainly have a good time with it. So let's get right into things. And we have our three heroes, Millennium, who has his Millennium bands that let him fly and basically shoot laser beams. And he is Mark Nova, who is a pilot for his family's corporation. We have Alpha Dawn, and her powers are, she's a reporter, kind of like Lois Lane, but she has certain like light bending powers, so she can be invisible or do a light blast or have photonic protection. And Higgs is Mark's alien friend, who is a Sciento engineer, and he can morph and stretch and be all rubbery and kind of like Flubber almost. So we'll put our cards aside here because we don't need those in the way on the play space here. And let's get into things. Let's give you the summary of what happened last time. So last time, Mark was testing a new space warp technology. And you can see I have... That's his civilian identity. I just have it on the other side of the token here. For his family, and they were having like a grand, like a ball or a reception for it. And the warp technology was stolen because a space creature was sent to disrupt the reception as a distraction. And of course, Mark changed into Millennium to do that. Alpha Dawn's civilian identity is Starla Saturn, so she changed into Alpha Dawn. And, I got a good picture for Higgs's civilian identities. He has the glasses and the mustache. That's the perfect disguise. He stole that mustache from Pedro Pascal, by the way. But they're in their superhero guise now. They're on the Starbat, and they've been trying to track down where this monster came from. And the hope is that if they find out where the monster came from, they'll be able to recover the warp technology because they're worried that somebody's using it for nefarious purposes. And they know something about the planet Vergasun, that is where the thing is or where these creatures might be from. And they had a mysterious clue that the person who paid to have the creature brought in, and they only have his initials GB because they didn't have really great rolls to get any more information. And oh well, we got to honor the bad roll. So they come out of warp near the planet Vergasun, and immediately when they come out of warp, there is a doot, and it makes no signal. A flying saucer patrol comes out. Now, there are two of them, but I only have one of these little things here. So we'll just have to pretend that that's both of them, but I'll keep track of things. And Mark gets on the comm right away, and he says, this is Millennium out of planet Earth, and we're just here for exploration purposes. And he gets no response. This thing, they can tell that immediately its weapons are starting to power up here. So let's see what's going to happen. So I have this set that is going to take 5 rounds. And now Streamlined Superheroes doesn't necessarily have Starship combat rules directly written into it because it's a superhero game and, versus like a Star Wars or a Star Trek game. But what we're going to do is Millennium is going to man the piloting, and his role is always going to be to avoid damage. And he has an effect dice of a D8 there. And the gunnery role, Alpha Dawn is going to man that. And we're going to say that her light blast, that's also a D8. Okay, so we'll have to get another D8 to help her out. And Higgs is going to just kind of man engineering and see what he can do. And he doesn't get to do anything really the first round. So let's see if we can avoid and if we can hit. And it's going to go pretty fast. You're going to see Streamlined Superheroes is very well streamlined. So let's do our first round here and see what happens. So how does Mark do? Oh, Mark does great. 15 and 8. So he easily zigs and zags and avoids the any damage here. Oh, and then she hits the opposing saucer there. She hits one of them because I said there were two. So she takes that down to 7. And I got to make a note on what the Starbat is at. Starbat has 26 hit points. All right. So Higgs gets on. And I didn't have him act first this round because he's going to get on and see using his Sciento engineering skills. Oh, that's also a D8. He is going to see if he can do anything to either help the piloting or the gunnery. So we had a good first round here. And is he able? Now, in this system, a 10 or better is always a success. And you might say, well, how do you make it easier? How do you make it harder? Advantage and disadvantage dice, just like in 5th edition, although I don't play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. There's a few rules I like from it. Oh, and an 8, so that's great. So he definitely gets a very solid advantage, and I think he's going to give that to Mark as the pilot. He says, I'm going to feed you their coordinates so you can avoid damage. We have to find that warp thing. So let's see. So Mark would have missed, but with the advantage, he is able to zig out of the way. Now, he only gets a 1 on the effect die, but in this case, it doesn't matter too much. Now, does Alpha Dawn hit? Yes, she hits the other ship. I wonder if she was which one she was aiming for 4 points of damage. We'll say 1, 2, 3 was the first one, 4, 5, 6 the second. She was aiming again at the first one. Okay, so she looks like she's trying to take one out automatically. And let's see how Higgs does here with his Sciento engineering. Oh, he does great again. These dice are rolling very nicely for me. You know what that means later on. The law of averages is going to catch up with me. I think he's going to give it to the gunnery this time. So let's see how we do. Do we avoid damage? Oh, now there's no crits. So the 20 is just still a success. Because the crits can go both ways. Don't forget. Sometimes people forget that. I've also heard that Gary did not use crits in his Dungeons & Dragons games. All right, so he avoids damage on this second round. Let's see if we get a hit on that ship from Starla. Yeah, and I'm going to say she was going after that first one again, and that's the second round. Almost Higgs has to go yet. Oh, again, and he succeeds, and he got an 8, so that's no problem. He's definitely going to give advantage. Let's see, I think this time he'll give advantage to the piloting. We'll vary it. So let's see, third round. Do they get hit? No. Mark is able to, using Higgs's coordinates, the scientific information, he's able to zig and zag the Starbat around the there's 2 of these little flying saucers remaining. So let's see. So that was his advantage. Let's see if Alpha Dawn hits one. Yes, for 8. So 1 is definitely out of the picture here. And then let's see how Higgs does. Okay, I don't even need to roll the effect die 5. Nobody gets advantage for this next round. Okay, so that was, I believe, our third round. All right, so let's see how we do here. So nobody gets advantage on their rolls. So Millennium zigs and zags the ship. 18, that's fine. No damage. They do not hit the other ship here in the fourth round. And let's see how Higgs does. Nope, no good. Oh, and I got to remember to be adding their bonuses to this, but even with that, it's only a 9. It's not a 10. So that was our fourth round. We still have 1 ship active. This may take another round, let's say, to resolve here. Maybe I didn't need to set it up for rounds. So let's see. So I don't think anybody... Oh, did Higgs go? Yeah, he did, and did not get anybody advantage. Okay, no damage this round. No damage this round. And sorry for the pause there. It wouldn't be a game if you don't drop your dice. And I know other people drop their dice too, other solo recorders, they tell me. So let's see. Did we hit 13 hits for 5 points of damage? And yeah, so even at the end of this 5th round, they're not able to shake off the opponent. So this, they didn't detect any life signs here. So the other ship was, spinning back towards the planet, smoking. And they have to see if they can deal with this one here. So let's see. He's going to give his advantage to Alpha Dawn for firing this round. So do we avoid damage? Yeah, they haven't taken any damage. They're doing pretty well here. 13 and 1. Do we hit with advantage? Oh, we didn't even need the advantage. 4 points of damage. But they're still not out of danger yet. This thing, it seems like it fights till the bitter end. I'm thinking of the noises they would make in those old sci-fi movies back in the 1960s and 50s and all that. So I think we're going to go one more round here because the thing is still pursuing them. I don't think we needed to worry about the 5 rounds automatically. Okay, so Mark he's rolling great. I like this blue dice. He's rolling great. Now, did Higgs get the advantage? I don't remember. Yeah, okay, so Starla's going to get the... Oh, that's right. The pilot was going to get the advantage. I'm sorry. So no advantage for Starla. Let's see if she can take this thing out. 11 with her dexterity. That's a 14-4. Yeah, this thing is taken out. They have no damage, and they approach the planet. Now, Higgs is going to give a scan here, and let's see what he can find out. 18, okay, yeah. My dice are rolling. Like I said, they're hot today. Now, 1, so he doesn't find anything special, but he says, he's detecting, I'm detecting a technical signature, he says. This Ferguson is pretty wild and uninhabited, at least by intelligent beings, but I'm definitely picking up a technical signal. It's kind of on the southern hemisphere. It's very densely wooded and all there. He said, hopefully we'll be able to set down not too far from it quietly. So let's see if they can set down quietly. So that would be Millennium's piloting role. That's a D8. And let's see how we do. 17 and 8. Oh, that's beautiful. So they land very quietly. He's able to kind of sneak in among the clouds and land the Starbat quietly. And they get out, and it's very, very warm and humid. This maybe is a planet. Higgs says, my suspicion is that the sentient life hasn't developed here yet. Intelligent life highly hasn't developed yet. Much like in your dinosaur age. Like I said, it's maybe a little bit physically uncomfortable, but they're heroes. They're here for their purpose. They don't mind that it's a little bit hot and humid. Man, it feels like Pennsylvania earlier this week. As they leave the ship, now you can see I've set up my I have one of those little Loki battle map books. This is just one of the small ones, but I think it's just fine for, it's very, very portable. And I have some rocks that I made. These are just bark mulch, and I put a little cardboard on the bottom and painted them up a bit. And they make really nice sedimentary rocks. So we'll just put some rocks along here. And Higgs says, well, let me do a scan here along the way. He says, using his Sciento engineering just to see what he detects. 7, let's see, what's his intelligence is 3, so that's still a 10. A 10 or better is good. It's not an exceptional success. So what he detects is herds of creatures, not right, in their face, necessarily right next to it. Sorry, I bumped the picture here. But they are the creatures that he saw before, that they faced. So he's saying, he tells Millennium, oh, they are definitely native to this planet. I found them out. I found out that they're here. And he said, and this is where I had gotten that technological signal. So what they're going to do is they do see up ahead some kind of bridge from the distance. But Higgs says, let me see if I can sneak up and I'll be as stealthy as I can. Now, he has a morphing form. So I'm going to say that he kind of gets like all as flat as he can to make himself as inconspicuous as possible. And let's see how he does. 13. His dexterity is 2, so that's 15, but that's fine. I don't even need to worry about that. And he gets a 6. So remember, anything greater than a 6 or greater, is an exceptional success. So he definitely sees something. And what he sees floating on the other end of the bridge is this creature that looks like a brain. And I was fortunate enough to have this brain here. It's a brain squishy. It has a logo on the top. I haven't figured out I have to figure out how to take that logo off. But he is totally inconspicuous, and he stretches on back. I'm thinking about if you remember how Plastic Man used to move in the cartoons. If you're old enough like me to remember the Plastic Man cartoon. And he stretches back and he says, "Oh, there's a creature up there. And it's like a brain creature, and it's floating, and it seems to be guarding the bridge. Oh, it's really scary and really creepy." So he says, maybe, now that we can see what we're up against, maybe we could get a surprise. And let's see, in order to do that, I think that would be a dexterity roll. I don't think I'm going to roll the effect dice here. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if anybody has anything super special that might help them get a. Only one who would, I think, is Higgs. So let's see how they do. 12, 20, 9. Now, Millennium's dexterity is +3, so that's a 12, so that's a success. And they don't get the exceptional success, or Higgs doesn't anyway, but the 3 of them are going to be able to get the surprise. Now, how are we going to handle the surprise? We're going to let them act first. So they creep up, and then Millennium, with his gauntlets, can fly. So he is flying in the air. And he is going to act first. And Alpha Dawn is, I'm going to say she goes invisible. So hoping to, she can get close enough to get a laser blast. And Higgs will worry about him in a second. So let's see how Millennium does. So they're going to get basically a free round here. That's how I'm handling surprise, at least for now. And let's see how Millennium does. He's going to just shoot with his Millennium rays. Just basically pop right up and fire. And, a 12. He gets a solid shot at that brain. Doing 12 points of damage. That's as good as you can do. Now, there's no criticals. And let's see. Millennium is going to try to sneak up with her light blast. I guess they're not being very quiet about all this. And does she hit? Let's see. 8 + 3 is 11. She hits for 6 points of damage. Oh, they are doing some major damage on this brain, at least to start. Now, you can see it's very big compared to them. And Higgs, he is going to try to stretch in, and he has club arms. He can like extend his arms, stretch them out, and kind of just try and bap it. And does he bap it for 2? Oh, they all hit on this surprise round. Very good. Okay, now the brain gets to go on this next round. So, Millennium, again, he's going to just try and use his Millennium rays. Does he hit? 7 + 3 is 10. He hits for 9. Oh, I'm rolling like crazy here. But unfortunately, they're not being very stealthy. All right, now I've got to see if the brain hits him. And that is a stunning attack here. Does he hit 16? Yes. He stuns Millennium for 5. So Millennium will have to use his intelligence and get a 5. And how are we going to indicate that he's stunned? Oh, and he's flying. Whoa. So if he's stunned while he's flying, I'm going to say that he's falling towards the ground. Let's let him fall towards the ground for right now. Now, Alpha Dawn sees this. She's no longer invisible. She has to become visible to use her light beams. And she says, Higgs, go catch him. And she is going to try and take out the brain here. Let's see if she can do that. And let's see, her light blast is a D8. Nope, misses. Now I have to roll to see if she gets stunned by the brain creature. Yes, for 1 point of damage. So she is stunned as well. Uh-oh, and Higgs has to try to catch Millennium. Otherwise, I'm going to say Millennium gets some damage there. So let's see. I have a nice green dice for Higgs, that nice radioactive green that he is. And let's see. He's going to use his extra stretching limbs. So he's going to stretch out his hands. Hold on. I'm going to try to get you, buddy. 15. Okay, so that's good. The 3 isn't an exceptional success, but that's all right. I'm going to rule that he catches him. Oh, this might not be good. We have to roll and see if Higgs gets stunned here. So 10 or better from the brain creature. 17, and he is stunned. Oh, they did not have a good round. Okay, so let's see. Now, is the brain creature going to alert others to their presence, or is he going to do further attacks to them? No, he is not going to do further attacks. And I got a but here in that case, no but. So let's see what's going to happen. What am I going to do with the no but? What I'll say is if Millennium is able to break free, I'll say the but means he gets a possible hit this round if he breaks free. So let's have him try to break free. So that's an intelligence roll. His intelligence, he doesn't get any bonus on that. And let's see, is there anything, he's not as, I don't want to say he doesn't have any special mental powers. His piloting is a D6, which I think would make, or D8 rather, which I think would make him pretty sharp, because if you're a pilot, you have to be making decisions. So I'll give him the D8 for the effect die here. 8, nope, he is not able to break free. So the brain creature is going to do an attack on him, to try and weaken him. And his attack for the brain creature, it's like a brain blast, is a D6. Let's see how things go. 7, he misses. Thankfully, he misses. Okay, let's see if Alpha Dawn is able to break free. And she is a crime reporter. So I would say we'll use that as her effect die. She's used to putting 2 and 2 together with things. So maybe her intellect is particularly sharp, even if might help her here. 9, her intelligence is a +1. Oh, good. That gets her over 10. Oh, and a 9. That's plenty good enough for her to break free of the mind control. And let's see if this thing gets a brain blast. Because I think the no but would only be for just the first person. So he's going to try his brain blast here. 16, and he hits Alpha Dawn for 2. I'll make a note of that. And let's see. Now, how about good old Higgs using his Sciento engineering intelligence? 20 for 2. I'm trying to remember how many he got hit for, because I don't think I wrote, sadly, I didn't write that down. I think it was only 1 point of damage. So I think he's okay. I think we've got 2 people out of the brain blast here, or out of the mind control. And no, he does not get hit. Does not get hit by the brain blast, thankfully. So let's see if Millennium, can he snap out of it? What's his piloting? A D8. 2, so he's still groggy. Alpha Dawn, hollered, "Oh, come on, Millennium, try to break out of it." And let's see if he takes any damage from the brain blast. And no. Nope. Okay, so Alpha Dawn, she says, I've had enough of you. And she's using her light blast. I'll do his brain blast at the same time in the interest of time. And the light blast hits for 7. His brain blast does not hit. That's good enough to weaken this creature so much, and it kind of floats off into the bush. Higgs comes over, and he's trying his best to help Millennium up. Let's see if Millennium can make it up here. And let's see what we're doing, a D8, I think. Yes, Millennium is able to revive himself. Oh, that thing, that was frightening, terrible. And he said, but I think we're going to have to go ahead because we've made so much noise. We're going to have to quickly get in there and see if we can take care of things. So let me move to the next map here. I don't have their science fiction book. I don't think it's still in print. But what can you do? So, and this is, like I said, this is a cave and on a planet. So here's our cave right here. Here's the entrance. And they've been making so much noise. And he says, Higgs, we'll try your sneaking again just to see. Maybe, hopefully, we can. You can use your extra stretching or your morphing form and see what you can see. And then I'll show you what he can see if he's successful. No, he is not successful. So he's trying to be as quiet as he can, but unfortunately he's not that quiet. And they hear a loud voice from inside. Who is it? Who dares disrupt the plans of GALACTOBRAIN? He says, my portal is almost finished. So here's my portal made of these magnetic tiles. It's a little flimsy, but you get the idea. So this is going to be the portal. He says, soon my army will go through. And let me show you. So he had stolen the warp technology. And let me show you GALACTOBRAIN here. So you can see he's kind of like, almost like Mr. Freeze, but you can see the GALACTOBRAIN that he has. And he has the kind of War Machine armor. And he is in here working on his portal. And he has with him another one of those monsters who they faced earlier. He says, I'm almost ready to send my army of creatures. You go out and stop them. All right, so they are going to come in and blast their way through. And Millennium is going to fly in right for GALACTOBRAIN. That's who he's going after. So I have to make some notes here on GALACTOBRAIN. And they did take Alpha Dawn took a little bit of damage. So make some notes here about hit points just so I can deal with that when the time comes. All right. And then Alpha Dawn, they know they're there, so she's not going to use her. Maybe she'll use her invisibility. And we'll see. Maybe she's not going to use her invisibility this round. They know they're there, and she has to turn not visible again. And Alpha Dawn hires, and Higgs and I will distract him. We'll distract the monster. All right, so Millennium is going first with his Millennium rays. And GALACTOBRAIN, I'll use the yellow for him. He puts his hand up to his temples, and he is trying a brain blast like that brain creature that he uses. So let's see. Millennium is the blue and misses. GALACTOBRAIN misses too. Okay. So Alpha Dawn is going to try and distract this crabby claw-like creature here. I'm thinking, if you remember in Attack of the Clones, maybe not the best movie, but the creature in the arena with the claws attacking them. And let's see, what's her light blast? Her light blast is a D8. And what about the creature? The creature is also a D8. We'll have to use the blue there. And he gets 2 attacks, so he'll be able to attack Higgs as well. And let's see who hits. Does Alpha Dawn hit? Yes, she does, but so does the creature. Oh, they both got ones. Nothing. Because that's a pretty big creature there. All right, Higgs will try his best to club at the creature. Let's see how he does. And of course, the creature is going to try his darndest to puncture Higgs' cellular membrane there. Has to go down the chute. Close enough. All right, so Higgs hits for 4, but Higgs gets hit for 7. Which is pretty, he gets really spiked on that claw there. Okay, and GALACTOBRAIN and MILLENIUM is next, so we'll have MILLENIUM go next. Does MILLENIUM hit GALACTOBRAIN? Nope. And GALACTOBRAIN is going to try, he's, again, using that brain blast of his. And you do see him, they see him fiddling with the device here. And 8, oh, he's +3 though, so he does 2 points of damage to MILLENIUM. So MILLENIUM is down a little bit, and we'll take it from there. All right, so they are trying to really distract this creature here because they know they've got to keep it busy. They know that the taking care of the cosmic supervillain is the main thing. So let's see. We'll have Alpha Dawn, again, using her light blast. Does she hit? No, but the creature hits for 6 points of damage at Alpha Dawn. Things could, we'll have to see how things go here. You never know, because you always got to allow for the fail state. I think Higgs says, I'm not going to try to attack him. Higgs is going to try and like really distract the creature, hoping to give her advantage next time. So he is really trying on an assist. And if he gets a really good assist, that's really good. So he is going to do his distraction here. And let's see which dice. He's using his morphing form. He's basically going to try and like be really big and, do it, nana nana boo boo or blah, and attract the guy. Let's see how he does. A 10 and a 6. So that's good because then next round, Alpha Dawn will get the double advantage there on both her damage and her to hit. Because he got the exceptional success, but we have to see if the monster hits Higgs. No, he misses. So he does not hit Higgs this round. MILLENIUM is starting to get just a little bit worried because maybe out of the corner of his eye, he can see his friend Higgs getting kind of beat up pretty badly, and he hasn't scored any kind of hits on GALACTOBRAIN here, who is frantically making some adjustments on the teleportation device. So let's see what he can do this round. Again, with his MILLENIUM rays. 19 for 8. So he lands a good hit on GALACTOBRAIN. Says something like, take that, Mr. Mind. And GALACTOBRAIN, let's see what he does. He's using his Brain Blast here, which is a D8. Yeah, he does hit. And he says, right back at you. And zzz, so this beam comes out of his mind. Okay, now Alpha Dawn is in really good shape because Higgs helped her. So she gets advantage on both her light blast and the effect die for that light blast. So let's see how she does. Yeah, she hits. She would have hit with both of them for 4. So it's not a huge hit on the monster. It's still under some control. And Higgs is looking and he is seeing, he remembers, of course, that there was a mind control device on it. All right, well, let's give the monster a chance to attack Alpha Dawn here. Okay, oh, he misses. It didn't go down the thing, but I'm still going to count it. And Higgs thinks, maybe he could do something else. Maybe if he could use his stretching, let's see, his extra stretching limb. And since he's a Sciento engineer, he's going to try and get in there and see if he can dislodge that control device, because they had found a control device on the monster before. A 12 and a 9, so that's pretty good. He gets in there and is starting to work away at getting the control away from the monster. The monster lashes out with its claws. Oh, it's a 1. It's a miss. Good. And MILLENIUM is very concerned with, again, this stolen warp thing here. He's going to, try and really get the GALACTOBRAIN away from it. Let's see if that works. 15 for 2. It's something. And let's see what GB does. Does he hit? Yes, he uses that mind thing to zap at MILLENIUM for 15. But now I have to make a decision whether he's going to stay in the game or not. So 1, 2, 3, he flees. 4, 5, 6, he stays because he's down to about half hit points. 4, 5, 6, he stays. Is that what I said? I forget. Well, we're going to say he stays, just in case I said it the wrong way. So he stays in the fight. He says, "No, I'm not defeated yet." Okay, now Alpha Dawn doesn't have any special stuff going on here. So she is, again, just trying to do her best. She's going to focus her light blast, again, at the control center. Higgs says, yes, hit it at the control center. I had good luck with that. So an 11 and 4. So she does, they're starting to dislodge that. But I believe she's going to take some damage too. Let's see, what's she taking? 5 points of damage. So she takes... That claw rakes out at her. And Higgs again is going for that control center. Let's see how he does. 13 and 3. Yeah, he's working it loose. Working it loose. Maybe we could tame this monster after all. But he takes another claw from the monster. And it's a good thing I don't have crits in this game because that was a 20. Okay, so MILLENIUM and GALACTOBRAIN are still facing off here this round. And let me get my dice that I need here. And we'll roll them at once if I don't knock over the portal. And let's see, a 7 plus 3 hits. But MILLENIUM's going to take a hit too. So GALACTOBRAIN takes a hit. And... MILLENIUM takes a hit. What does he take a hit for? 3 points. And again, let's see if GALACTOBRAIN flees. I'm going to say on a 1 through 4 here because he's taken more damage. 3. So for his movement, he makes some adjustments and he goes through the portal, but he makes a switch and flips it. He says, "I'll have the last laugh anyway." So he disappears through the portal. Now, MILLENIUM could choose to follow him, but I really think he's going to stay behind and work on this. But he starts to hear that the portal is humming, almost like an overload. So he calls to Higgs. He says, "We've got to switch places." He says, "You've got to try and stop this portal." So, well, we'll move Higgs in a second. So MILLENIUM already went. Let's have Alpha Dawn go. 11 and 6. Yeah, she is able to dislodge the thing from the monster, the control panel, and the monster seems very much, or creature, it's a space creature, very confused. So Higgs is going to come over here, and for this round, he is trying, let's see, with a D8 to see if he can disarm that thing. He says, yes, it may blow up. He said, save yourself. MILLENIUM says, no, we're going to stay and help you. So, let's see. He is not able to do anything. Now, Alpha Dawn is, well, let's take care of her first. What she's going to do is try and lead the creature out of the mix here. So, with her, I'm going to say her light bending. Maybe she'll make a light or a distraction for it to see if she can lead it out of the door. and her light bending is a D10. So that's pretty good. That's like what her invisibility is. So I'm going to say she'll make like a ripple or something to distract it. 16 and 9, so that's the exceptional success, because 6 or better is exceptional. We're going to say this creature goes outside. So hopefully it will go back to its herd and not be any trouble. Okay, now Millennium's going to try to assist Higgs. Now, since it's like a warp drive and he is a pilot, I'm going to say, yeah, that's not unreasonable that he might be able to assist in this situation. How does he do? 17, so he gives advantage to the D20 roll, but not to the effect dice roll. And this thing, it's increasing. So we're going to do rolling with advantage and a D8 for the effect die. Okay, so 6. All right, that's pretty good. And Millennium says, we got this. We're going to try it again. So he's going to try it again using his piloting. So he would know something about this. Nope, not able to help. And he says to him, he says, it's up to you. So we got to get a good roll on this. 17 for 3. The thing is still overloading. And within the time frame, they did not make the rolls. They did not get it in time. I guess GALACTOBRAIN set it to explode. So what I'm going to say is that Millennium is going to try and scoop up his friends with his flight and get them out of there. Now that's tricky. That's going to be really tricky. So I'm going to say he's going to have to do that with his disadvantage because he has 2 of them to pick up. And let's see, his flight is a D10. Oops, here we go. So look at that. I got 2 8s, but his dexterity is a 3. So that's an 11 in both cases. Even if I use the strength, it was +2. So he is able to scoop them both up and fly them out of there as the warp prototype explodes. So they go back to the ship, and they're going to make their way back to Earth here. And let's have a little denouement scene here on the bridge. So they're reflecting on the mission. And Millennium's feeling kind of down on himself. He said, well, he got away, and the prototype exploded. He says, now, I'm hoping that at my parents' company, they have other records and can rebuild it. He said, but we just weren't able to bring him to justice. And Starla says, yeah, but we prevented possibly an invasion of Earth. She said, I think you can't be too tough on yourself for that, because we did, prevent him from sending those creatures through. We saw what damage they did at the reception. And Higgs says, yeah, and he said, in my civilian disguise, he said, maybe I can help out your engineers there. And then he realized, maybe I said the wrong thing, in front of Alpha Dawn. So he kind of gets quiet and he's not sure what he said. And Alpha Dawn says to, Millennium says to Alpha Dawn, he says, we need some way to communicate. He said, I think we worked so well together as a team. If you'd like to continue working as a team, we would need some way to communicate with each other so that we can contact each other for future missions. And Higgs says, that's something I can bring up. I can bring up, a special secret band communicator that the 3 of us could have, for the call to action and getting everybody together for missions. And so they all decide that's a good thing. So even though they did not capture the villain, and that's always nice because it's kind of like when Skeletor would get away, you can bring him back. They did not capture the villain. They did prevent the invasion, although they didn't get the prototype back. But that's certainly a small matter in terms of people's lives on Earth. So I really hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like Streamline Superheroes or look at any of our products, they're linked below, and so is Buy Me a Coffee. But you certainly don't have to do that if you don't want to. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you get some time to do some solo role-playing yourself, with whatever system you like or whatever you want to give a try. And we'll see you next time.